What if the price of love was your entire life savings, your peace of mind, and your dreams? What if you spent years sacrificing everything for your family, only to realize they saw you as nothing more than a cash machine? Eva Larsson spent a decade bailing out her family, her brother's gambling debts, her parents' failed investments, until one phone call forced her to face the truth. With a new life ahead and an engagement that could save her, Eva must decide. Will she continue to pay for a love that only drains her, or will she break free and reclaim what's hers? The phone buzzed relentlessly on Eva's nightstand, its vibration like a heartbeat in the dead of night. 3:12 a.m. The screen glowed with Ishmael's name, her brother's contact flashing like a warning. Eva's pulse quickened. The last time he called this late, he was holed up in a motel, hiding from a bookie who'd smashed his car windows over a $3,000 debt. She wanted to ignore it, to let the call die in the silence, but guilt, a decade-old anchor, pulled her hand to the phone. She answered, and a stranger's voice slithered through the line, low and menacing. "You got 48 hours to get me $9,000, or your brother's gonna lose more than his luck." The line went dead. Eva sat upright, her breath shallow, the darkness of her apartment closing in. Who was this? How deep was Ishmael's trouble this time? And why, after everything, was she still the one expected to fix it? Eva Larsson, 35, was the steady hand in a storm. A senior project manager at a Seattle tech firm, she had a reputation for turning chaos into order, whether debugging a crashing app or navigating her family's endless crises. Her dark hair was always neatly pinned, her hazel eyes sharp yet weary, carrying the weight of years spent holding others together. She'd grown up in a cramped Tacoma house, where love was transactional, and money was always short. Her parents, Carl and Linda, were dreamers who chased bad investments, pyramid schemes, shady real estate deals, leaving Eva to pick up the pieces. She'd clawed her way to stability, earning a degree, landing a six-figure job, and building a life that looked successful on the outside. But inside, she was running on empty. Her family was a vortex of dysfunction. Ishmael, 32, was a gambler with a disarming smile and a knack for trouble. His poker debts piled up faster than his excuses, each one landing at Eva's door. Molina, 37, was a chameleon, spinning tales of woe to fund her business ideas. A boutique that never opened, a wellness blog that fizzled out. Their parents, now in their late 60s, lived in a haze of denial, maxing out credit cards and leaning on Eva to cover their mortgage. Summer, 25, was the outlier, quiet, observant, and trapped in the family's toxic web, her potential stifled by their chaos. For a decade, Eva had been their family cash machine. It started with small loans, $200 for her parents' utilities, $500 for Ishmael's sure thing bet. But the demands grew, swallowing her savings. By her count, she'd given them $200,000 over 10 years. Money meant for a house, a vacation, a life. They called her Lonely Eva behind her back, mocking her single status and frugal habits, oblivious to the fact that her sacrifices were their lifeline. She told herself it was duty, but each payment chipped away at her dreams. The story ignited on a drizzly October morning. Eva was at her desk, reviewing code, when Molina texted, "Ishmael's in deep. Call me now." Eva's stomach knotted. She knew the script. Molina's voice was shrill when Eva called. "Ishmael owes $9,000 to a guy named Nico. He's a loan shark, Eva. You have to pay it, or they'll hurt him." The memory of Nico's late-night threat, 48 hours, $9,000, flashed in her mind. She wanted to say no to let Ishmael face his mess, but Molina's guilt trip was surgical. "He's your brother. If you don't help, you're as good as signing his death warrant." Eva's fingers trembled as she transferred $9,000 from her emergency fund, watching her balance drop to a number that made her chest tighten. She told herself this was the last time, but doubt gnawed at her. How many last times had there been? A week later, Eva escaped to a tech conference in Portland, craving a break from her family's chaos. She was presenting a panel on agile project management, her confidence a shield against the exhaustion she felt. During a break, she collided with Michael Chen, a 38-year-old architect with warm brown eyes and a quiet charisma. He was pitching sustainable design software, his passion for eco-friendly buildings infectious. Their conversation sparked over coffee, architecture, sci-fi novels, the best spots for dim sum in Seattle. For the first time in years, Eva felt light, like she could breathe without the weight of her family pressing down. Michael was a revelation. Raised in a tight-knit family, he'd built a successful career designing community centers and green buildings. He spoke of his late father with tenderness, his mother's cooking with laughter, and his dreams with a grounded hope that drew Eva in. When he asked her to dinner, she hesitated, then said yes, her heart daring to hope. Their relationship unfolded like a slow bloom. Dinners became weekend hikes along Olympic National Park trails, then late-night calls about everything and nothing. Michael was a safe harbor, seeing Eva for her wit, her strength, her quiet dreams of a life beyond her family's shadow. But she kept that shadow hidden. The $200,000, the late-night calls, the mockery, she buried it all, terrified it would taint the one good thing in her life. 6 months later, Michael proposed on a windswept cliff overlooking the Pacific. The ring was simple, a single diamond glinting in the fading light. "I want us to build something real, Eva," he said. "Whatever storms come, we'll weather them together." Tears blurred her vision as she whispered yes, the promise of a new life anchoring her. The engagement dinner was meant to be a milestone. Michael booked a private room at a Seattle waterfront restaurant, inviting his parents, Eva's family, and a few friends. Eva's nerves were raw. Her family had a knack for turning joy into chaos. Ishmael arrived late, his breath sharp with whiskey, flashing a grin that didn't reach his eyes. Molina, in a too-tight dress, made barbed comments about Eva's fancy new life. Carl and Linda fawned over Michael, probing about his firm's revenue with unsubtle greed. Summer sat quietly, sketching in a notebook, her eyes flickering with unease. During a break, Eva slipped into the hallway to steady herself. Voices drifted from around the corner, Molina, Ishmael, and their parents, plotting in hushed tones. "Michael's got money," Molina hissed. "His firm's worth millions. Once they're married, Eva will make sure we get our cut. She's too soft to say no." Ishmael laughed, low and cruel. Lonely Eva finally snagged a rich guy. "Let's milk this." Eva froze, her heart splintering. She'd given them everything, her savings, her dreams, her peace, and they saw her as a pawn. The betrayal cut deeper than she'd expected, exposing the lie she'd told herself, that her sacrifices earned their love. She returned to the table, her smile a mask, but inside, she was unraveling. That night, in Michael's apartment, Eva broke. She told him everything, the $200,000, Nico's threats, the lonely Eva taunts. Her voice cracked as she confessed, "I didn't tell you because I was ashamed. I thought you'd see me as weak." Michael pulled her into his arms. "You're not weak, Eva. You're a goddamn hero for carrying that alone. We'll set boundaries together. They don't get to define you anymore." His words were a lifeline, but the storm was far from over. The crisis escalated a week later. Ishmael called, his voice ragged. "Nico wants $50,000, Eva. He's not playing. They trashed my apartment last night." Eva met him at a greasy diner, where he looked like a ghost, pale, unshaven, eyes darting to the door. "You have to help me," he begged. "They'll kill me." Eva's anger flared. She saw the cycle clearly now. Ishmael's recklessness, her enabling, their family's endless greed. She'd spent a decade bailing them out, losing herself in the process. "No," she said, her voice cold. "You need rehab, Ishmael, not my money. Face your consequences." His face twisted with fury. "You're abandoning me? You'll regret this." He stormed out, leaving Eva shaken but resolute. She wasn't just done with Ishmael, she was done with all of them. The next day, she called a family meeting at her parents' cluttered Tacoma house. Armed with a spreadsheet, $87,000 to Ishmael, $65,000 to Molina, $48,000 to Carl and Linda, totaling $200,000. She laid out the truth. "This is what I've given you," she said, sliding the paper across the table. "It ends now. Ishmael, get help. Molina, stop scheming. Mom, Dad, live within your means. I'm not your bank anymore." The room exploded. Molina screamed, "You're heartless." Carl accused her of betrayal. Linda sobbed, clutching a tissue. Ishmael tore the spreadsheet, shouting, "You think you're above us?" Only Summer stayed silent, her eyes meeting Eva's with a flicker of understanding. Eva walked out, her heart pounding but lighter, Michael waiting in the car. "You were incredible," he said, squeezing her hand. For the first time, Eva felt free. The fallout was brutal. Without Eva's money, her family's world collapsed. Ishmael, desperate to pay Nico, partnered with him in a Ponzi scheme, luring victims with fake crypto investments. The FBI raided Nico's operation, arresting Ishmael and charging him with fraud. Molina, who'd funneled money through her business accounts, was named a co-conspirator, facing prison time. Carl and Linda lost their home to foreclosure, moving into a rundown apartment and flooding Eva's voicemail with pleas. She deleted them without listening. Summer, however, reached out. She appeared at Eva's apartment one evening, clutching a worn backpack. "I don't want to end up like them," she said, her voice trembling. "I want to be better, but I don't know how." Eva saw her younger self in Summer, trapped but yearning for more. She helped Summer enroll in community college for graphic design, found her a part-time job at a cafe, and connected her with a therapist. It was a start, a fragile bridge to a new life. Eva and Michael married on a Puget Sound beach, the ceremony small but radiant. Eva wore a thrift store dress, her hair loose in the sea breeze. Michael's vows were simple. "I choose you, Eva, for all you are, not what you give." They danced under fairy lights, laughter mingling with the waves. For Eva, it was a rebirth. The twist came not just at the engagement dinner, but in a second revelation, Summer's secret. Months after the wedding, Summer confessed she'd been skimming money from Molina's schemes, saving it to escape the family. She handed Eva a check for $10,000, her share of Eva's past loans. "I didn't know how to give it back until now," Summer said, tears in her eyes. The act shattered Eva's last doubts about her sister, cementing their bond and showing that redemption was possible, even in their fractured family. Inspired by her journey, Eva and Michael launched the Forward Fund, a non-profit to help victims of financial abuse. They offered grants for therapy, financial literacy classes, and legal aid to enforce boundaries. At the fund's first gala, Eva spoke to a packed room, her voice steady. "I was a cash machine for my family, giving until I had nothing left. But I learned that love isn't a transaction. You deserve to be seen for who you are, not what you can pay." The crowd applauded, some wiping tears, others whispering their own stories. That night, Eva wrote a letter to her younger self, sealing her transformation. "Dear Eva, you thought love meant emptying yourself for others. You were wrong. Your worth isn't in your wallet, it's in your heart, your courage, your boundaries. You'll find people who choose you for you. You're not lonely. You're enough." She tucked the letter into a journal, a testament to her journey. Summer was thriving, designing logos for local businesses and planning to transfer to a 4-year college. Michael and Eva were planning a trip to Japan, a dream Eva had shelved for years. Her family's pleas faded into silence, their chaos no longer her burden. The ending was clear. Eva stood on her apartment balcony, the Seattle skyline glittering below. She wasn't the lonely cash machine anymore. She was Eva Larson, loved, whole, and free, her life a testament to the power of choosing herself. The Forward Fund grew, touching lives, while Summer became her ally, proof that change was possible. Readers would close the story inspired, eager for more tales of resilience, their hearts full of Eva's triumph.